All right, we are here at the NADA JD Power Auto Forum at the New York Auto Show, standing here with John Bozella and Mike Stanton. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me after already having had a chat on the stage. Obviously, you are both at the forefront of two major conversations, EVs and tariffs right now. I'd like to talk, Mike, a little bit about tariffs with you because the conversation a lot right now is at the OEMs, but there's a lot of dealer concern around this. What's the conversation as you've been working with the staff and working with the members on how to approach this, what to take consideration with, and then how you're taking that back to the Hill?
Yeah, a guy who used to work for Finbar O'Neill at JD Power, he had a saying, it was speculation is for chumps. And I think when it comes to tariffs, speculation is for chumps. What the NADA is doing is we're telling the dealer story with the administration, with the Office of Trade Representative, members of Congress, other agencies. We're telling the story about affordability and the concerns there, and then the potential impact to jobs. And as you know, dealerships run great businesses. You guys are great promoters of the jobs that they create, good jobs, and those could be at risk if this is sustained, and the administration needs to be aware of that as they're making their decisions.
We seem to kind of have like a flip-flop state of the union where every single day we could have new information about what is or isn't going to happen. Obviously, a May 3rd date kind of as the impending time of potential increased tariffs, specifically on auto parts. There's been kind of some relief on the manufacturers from the build. What are the conversations that you're hearing as to whether those things will come to place and what that impact could be on certain manufacturers?
Well, John will know better than me, but the manufacturers that I'm talking to, they're asking for more time. This is complicated. They don't know how to figure it out just yet. So they need more time. We all need more time in general to deal with this. It's just been so sudden, and we've also been advocating for a path versus an immediate.
I love that, John. The other conversation, EVs, we got to have a little bit of this conversation back at Public Policy Day, but because EVs have kind of taken a backseat in the public eye, and there's been a little bit of waning interest due to conversations moving away or the political atmosphere. One of the conversations that isn't in the forefront is these, I think it's 6 or 7 states that have this 35% of the manufacturer's deliveries in that state having to be in the 2026 model year as EVs, correct?
Yes, 35% EV sales in model year 2026, which is this calendar year, right. 2025, right now, in the state we're standing in New York, California, and 4 other states, right? So this would be the big story if it weren't for the tariffs and the challenges that tariffs are. Right? So you think that the hundreds of billions of dollars of risk with regard to tariffs, and I think Mike is right, you cannot change production and supply chains overnight. So and by the way, just while we're on tariffs for a minute, we do share the president's goal of making more in America. We want to make more. For sure. We want to make more cars in America. We want to have more production of cutting edge technologies that go into cars in America, but you can't make that happen overnight. So now you have that risk. And then on top of that risk is this idea that in the state of New York and in the state of California, where we sell millions of vehicles, that 35% of those vehicles have to be EVs right now. It would take a miracle for this to happen. Think about where we're at. In California, 23% of sales is EVs. Now you say, well, that's not that far from 35%. Well, that includes Tesla's sales, and they're effectively not regulated. So back them out. And so now the full line manufacturers and their dealers have to figure out how to get from effectively, each of them, from 12% to 35%. New York, we're at 9%.
As an average.
Including
the
100%, including the pure play EV manufacturers. So something's got to give. Congress is considering disapproving this rule,
right?
And is currently considering a vote on this in the next couple of weeks. I also think states have to consider whether this is right for them. 61% of New Yorkers think this is a bad idea. How do I know? Because we've done the polling.
Sure.
And so I wonder if the governor of New York recognizes that, and I think it's important that she does. What was interesting about this is in Maryland, a Democratic governor, Wes Moore, faced a similar question and decided to pause the program for 2 years. And what he said was, through an executive order, you know what? We need a timeout. We need to figure out whether this is achievable. By the way, he blamed the president of the United States, but that's politics. That's how it works. And by the way, the president handled it beautifully. He said, "Thank you. You're welcome."
You're welcome.
So I love that interplay. Like, I don't pick sides. We got to get. I'm in the car and truck party. Like, I'm
That's
not.
right. Yeah.
I don't get into that stuff.
Place to be.
But the point of the exercise is states are now also starting to make decisions about whether this is right for them.
That's right. Yeah.
They thought it was a free pass. It's not.
Yeah. It's not easy. And when you pair both of those things, you start to get into some of our largest states where our manufacturers are the most profitable, having potential issues with supply because as you had the conversation, we changed the denominator so that you don't have as much supply that you have to battle against the numerator of the 35%. And then if we come into any supply chain issues with the tariffs and some manufacturers potentially backing down their manufacturing in order to reassess where they put manufacturing efforts, we get into massive supply chain issues. You kind of said, hey, there might be kind of a pandemic blip in supply chain, especially for some manufacturers. And so I think that's something where dealers can be watching out. Not holding their inventory, but definitely not letting it go for too much of a discount, especially with some of the increased volume that we've seen in sales recently.
Yeah, each dealer has got to take a look at their own situation. They do have to project, speculate a little bit. Take a look at the EVs and the potential of this tax credit going away, then look at the tariffs, what their inventory is now, what that looks like, 60, 90 days. For some, they're in great shape. For some, they're not. And then figure out a way to maximize, their ROI.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for staying on the front lines, informing, but also being active in the political ecosystem and with the manufacturers to make sure that dealers and consumers are treated fairly in all of this.
Well, thank you for having us, and I love our partnership with NADA. So, Mike, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
awesome.
for all that you do, guys.
For sure.
Kyle.
Thanks, y'all.
Perfect.